there's a book, and then they made a movie. The book is way
Yeah,
better.
I'm a movie guy, so yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I did learn, a lot more of the story from his mouth, because the moment he entered, he took me under his wing. He said, "Oh, you're a medical student, yeah. Oh, let me see your mom, and then you coming to the hospital with me." And he just took me under his wing, and and he was a cardiologist. He still is a cardiologist, and an incredible one. I mean, this guy is so resourceful. I learned with him that 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 anything is possible. He was one of the two that emaciated and with all these deficiencies, um, he walked up the mountain and down and up the mountain again until he found civilization, and that's how all the friends were rescued. You know,
He
I
was
don't
one of
know,
the guys because there's only like two or three guys that did that to save the rest, right?
three, but one had to come
Yeah,
back because he
yeah.
couldn't take it. So there were two that went Fernando Parrado and Roberto Canesa. Were both friends of mine, but Roberto Canesa
Wow,
is not only my friend, he's my dear mentor. You know,
incredible.
from the beginning in medical school, I just saw a real life superhero. This guy is just unbelievable, and the way that because we didn't have all the technology and the money in hospitals that America is used to. So he would invent stuff. Like even now, lately, he invented a homemade ventilator. I mean, this guy is just crazy, resourceful, and of course, in his mind, nothing is impossible. So I absorbed that from him. I that's how I went through my medical career. And before my exams, I used to go to his house, and his house is always evolving. It's like a compound with you know guest houses and this and that, and he's always working on stuff, but always he's putting his friends to work. So I used to get three or four of my uh, study mates, and we used to go to his house and build stuff, and then as a reward would sit with him and he would teach us cardiology.
Wow,
So
that is
yeah, it was
amazing.
it was it was a great mentor to have. And then the day that I graduated from medical school, I was walking down the street from medical school to my father's shop, first shop, and this guy was sitting down at a very well-known restaurant in Uruguay, and he called me up. He was sitting with two other guys, and he introduced me, and he told them that I was one of the best medical students that he's ever seen. And so they were, very excited to meet me. And one of them took a liking to me. Actually, both of them really, and I took a liking to them. They were very interesting. And one of them was the chief of NYU cardiology, one aspect of the cardiology at NYU, which was the echocardiogram department. And
Yeah.
he said to me, "You know what? You need to come to the United States." And he gave me his card and he said, "I assure you a position at NYU
Wow.
Downtown Hospital." So I said, "Okay, great." I went home. I went to see my dad, and he gave me a big hug, and I told him about my encounter, and he said, "Right now, you sit down and you write the letter that you need to write," because I had to write an application letter. He didn't let me go home before I finished the letter. I sent it
Mm.
in, I got accepted, I moved to New York. And when I moved to New York, life completely changed. Not only I wasn't eating real food made by my mom every day,
Mm.
but I wasn't in a community. I wasn't going into my
Right.
house, meeting interesting people and having long meals, with people, and my parents and my sisters. And I was
You
alone,
went, you went from Jewish Uruguay food to New York deli Jewish food.
not Delhi. I wish it was
Yeah.
Delhi. maybe I would have survived a little longer, but it was hospital cafeteria,
Oh,
and bagels, and my favorite breakfast at that time was cinnamon raisin bagel and a Pepsi every
oh,
morning, every morning.
oh God.
And imagine the disconnect, of a doctor not even
The change.
knowing that what I was doing was bad. And
Right.
I started gaining weight, and I started being very stressed, and I started having seasonal allergies that
Mm.
then turned into an all year round ordeal, sneezing and itching, and then I started having difficulty digesting, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, gas. I mean, you name it. It was. I knew that lunch and dinner was going to be a couple of hours of suffering afterwards.